Monday. I love that this is how we're starting our week. So we have Jessie in the studio tonight, and she is teaching modern florals. So this is a really fun one. I love this painting. This might be my favorite, and I think I say that every week. So really, really excited to get started. We'll let everybody get in and get settled. If you are painting along, Jessie's gonna walk us through in just about an hour how to do this painting. If not, and you are just watching and relaxing and maybe getting inspired to paint when you have some time to relax later this week or this weekend and get your supplies, just go ahead and sit back and watch Jessie paint and relax. And all these supplies are available on michaels.com, and so you can have them shipped right to your door, or you can get them at the Michaels store if it is open near you. I know a lot of stores are still doing curbside and same-day delivery, so lots of options to get all these folk art paints in your hands. If you don't have the exact color and you want to paint along, don't worry. You can always substitute a pink for a pink, orange for an orange, or you know what, use what you have. We're totally fine with that right now. It's kind of like, just need to be creative. This is a great outlet. This is a great class and crew that everybody's been joining us on Mondays. So also before we get started, just to let you know if you're new that I'll be here answering any questions that you have in the chat. So if you have a question or comment, go ahead and put it in the chat and I'll try to answer it or relay it to Jessie or message you back. So we love questions and comments. And at the end, we'll be picking a winner at random from your comments, and you will win $50 worth of plaid product. So we will announce that live at the end. I'm trying to think of anything else. Also, again, if you are just watching this to be inspired right now and relaxing, you can go back on michaels.com and watch this video and also any of the other past Paint Night Lives or any of the other actual videos on Michaels Community Classroom. So it's great. They have them right there on their Community Classroom page that you can go back and watch at your leisure. So if you're like, hey, I'm just gonna watch, or you get behind and you need to go back, you can always do that on michaels.com. So I think we're gonna get started. We've got a lot of people, these are repeats. So yeah, we're gonna get started. And Jessie, you can get painting and we'll let you know if there's any questions.
Yeah, let's go over the supplies first. So we'll talk about that while people are still coming in. We're just gonna go over whatever was in the listing that you guys signed up for. So hopefully you'll have these in front of you. So tonight we are going to be using a 10 by 10 stretched canvas. So it's a regular 10 by 10 canvas. I got this at Michaels. We are also going to be using our Craft Smart Variety brush set, which we've been using for a lot of these paint nights with Michaels. And then we're also be using our folk art paints tonight. And the colors you're gonna need are Wicker White, Baby Pink, Daybreak, which is just a yellow color, it's like a light yellow, Teal, Pumpkin, and then also Hunter Green, which is a really beautiful dark green color. So like Kira said, feel free to substitute out any of these, any pink, any yellow, any white, any turquoisey color, orange, green, anything will work for this painting. So whatever you've got at home, feel free to just paint along with that. If you don't have these exact colors, that's totally okay. And then I also have my palette paper here, which you can use a paper plate or styrofoam or whatever kind of palette you like to paint with. And then I've got my paper towels and my water basin. And I also have here, guys, I have a ruler and a pencil. So hopefully you guys have that at home. If you don't have it in front of you, feel free to go grab it now. If you don't have a pencil, you can just use your paintbrush and use paint to do this. But you will need the ruler. And what we're gonna need the ruler for is to draw this hexagon. So we're gonna kind of get a little bit mathy in the beginning. We're gonna be doing some numbers, but I broke it down so it's really simple. So if you want to have this pretty hexagon frame on your painting, you will need the ruler and pencil. And if you don't have a ruler and pencil in front of you, feel free to just take a bowl and trace it and do a circle or something. Or you can just draw sort of a frame around it. Also, the measurements that I'm going to be telling you guys about for the hexagon are just for the 10 by 10 inch canvas, because that's what I have in front of me. So if you have a larger canvas, you may need to do a little bit of math for your canvas, or if you have like a rectangle or something, I highly recommend just like making a nice frame around it so you can still do the blue around the blue background and then the green behind the flowers. Just sort of be creative and pick a different shape if that's what's easier for you. But again, to do the hexagon, you will need the 10 by 10 canvas and the ruler. Okay, so you think we're ready to start tracing it out, Kira?
Yeah, I think everybody's ready.
Okay, cool.
Lots of everybody saying hi. I just put in what kind of canvas we were using. So yeah, you're good.
Okay, cool. So again, I tried to make this super simple for you guys because I don't ever like these to be too complicated. I really want to make sure that they're good for beginners. So I drew up this little template, and don't worry, I'm going to take this nice and slow, and I'm going to let you know the measurements. You don't have to be able to read them. Don't worry, that's really just for me. So what we're gonna end up with is this drawn onto our canvas. And I'm gonna show you how using the ruler. You would be surprised how hard it is to draw a hexagon. My friends here at FolkArt were teasing me today because it took me so long to figure out the math to make it perfect on this square. So to make sure each side was the same length and all that, I really wanted to make sure it was good for you guys. So that being said, we're going to start measuring our canvas. So first, I'm going to put my ruler up to the bottom of my canvas, and I'm going to start measuring this side. And I want to mark it, here, I'm going to do this actually. I'm going to start on this side. So we're going to mark it 3/4 of an inch in. So you see that? And again, if you don't feel like you want to draw the hexagon, or if you don't have a ruler, I really recommend you grab a bowl from your kitchen and do a circle instead of a hexagon, because you can do the exact same painting. It just will be a little bit different, which would be great. It'll be unique. Or if you have a different size square, grab some sort of circle that you can trace. I think that would just be just as beautiful.
Tupperware even would work if you want to do a square.
Tupperware would be great. You could do a cool square. If you got like a cool rectangle out of your Tupperware, whatever would be totally fine for this. It doesn't have to be the hexagon because it's a little bit tricky for some, especially if you don't have a ruler. Okay, so all I've done so far is I put my rule at the bottom and I measured 3/4 of an inch into my canvas, so 3/4 of an inch. And then I'm going to do the same on this side. I'm going to measure 3/4 of an inch into my canvas. All right, you see those two little lines? 3/4 of an inch in on either side. And then I'm going to turn my canvas upside down, and I'm going to do the exact same thing. So 3/4 of an inch on this side, and then 3/4 of an inch on this side. So now everyone should have these 4 little marks on the corners. So they're all the same, 3/4 of an inch from every corner. So now that we have that, I'm going to turn my canvas the other way. And on one of the sides that we haven't marked, I'm going to do the same thing, but this time we're going to measure 1 inch and 1/4. So 1 1/4 of an inch, and then the same thing on this side, 1 1/4 of an inch. So it's going to be a little bit further from the edges than the first ones. 1 1/4 of an inch. It should look just like mine. And then again, I'm going to flip it completely, like 180, I think that would be right, Lindsay? 180. I don't want to tell you guys the wrong thing. And we're going to do the exact same thing on this side, you guys. So again, 1 1/4 of an inch in from the sides. Okay, so your canvas should look like this. So just to recap, I want to make sure you guys heard me, so make sure people are catching up. On this side, we are 1 1/4 of an inch in from the edges, and it's the same on the opposite side. And then on this side, we are 3/4 of an inch in, and we're the same on the opposite side. So if you've got paper, this will work. If you've got a larger square canvas, you might need to do a little bit more math because I've measured it to fit on this size exactly. Or again, I think this is a great idea if you want to do a circle instead. Grab a bowl, grab a Tupperware and trace it. You can totally do a circle, and this painting will be just as beautiful in a circular frame instead of this hexagon. So that's really great. If you don't have the ruler, that's a really great way to sort of substitute that.
So I think everybody's, it looks like they're just getting their measurements in and their lines marked up. So
awesome.
Everybody loves all the options. Like you said, you got to make it work right now, right? So of course we want you to use FolkArt paint and our Craft Smart brushes and our Artist Loft canvas, but we get it. So somebody said it's all about the creativity.
Yes, it is. It is. And I love that everybody's paintings will be a little bit different.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next step is really simple. We are just going to connect our lines straight across. So these will connect with these, and then these will connect with each other. So it should look, we're kind of drawing here, I'll show you my template again. We're just connecting the lines just like they are on this template. And I'm just using a pencil, and don't worry, we're gonna paint right over these lines. So don't worry, I'm making it kind of dark, just so you guys can see it on the camera. But you can feel free to make your lines much lighter at home because they just need to be able to see it, that's all. They don't need to be super dark or anything. I'm just making mine, like I said, a little bit dark because I want you guys to be able to see it on the camera, hopefully.
Yep, lots of circles. So I love that. That was a great idea. We were talking this morning. Jesse's like, how do you draw a hexagon? So I love the circle idea.
You guys have to figure it out like I had to do today.
So you could do one circle, and then when you get your ruler or you know, go back and watch it, you can do a hexagon and you'll have a matching set.
Yeah, totally. Or if you have like a larger canvas and you're planning on painting this later, I found a really great tutorial on YouTube where you can take a square sized piece of paper and the girl teaches you how to fold it into a hexagon shape, into a perfect hexagon. So you would just need a piece of paper the size of your canvas, and then you can just look it up on YouTube. I found it. It was a great, like, I think it was an origami channel. And that's kind of how I came up with this original shape, and then I was able to trace it and find the measurements. But anyway, there's lots of ways for you to figure out how to make hexagon, probably a lot quicker and easier than I did.
Love it. So everybody, there's some questions after Jesse's class. After we go live, then the classes will be on michaels.com on the community classroom page. So don't worry if you need to go back and watch this one, or you want to check out any of Jesse's past Let's Paint Live classes. They will all be on michaels.com.
Yeah. So hopefully you guys will have something that looks like this, sort of a frame, and it's a little bit thicker on two of the sides than it is on the other two sides. These are a little bit thinner. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to grab our ruler again. So I've got it right now, so I have the thicker side on the bottom. So the thicker side for mine is on the bottom and top. So facing me is the 3/4 of an inch side. So I'm going to measure this line that I drew from the left, and I'm going to mark it at 2 3/4 of an inch. So I want to mark it at 2 3/4 of an inch. So it's about there. Not about, it is there. Yours should look like that too. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to mark the same thing on the other side. It's going to be 2 inches and 3/4. So I've got 2 and then 3/4. So you should have 2 little markings there.
Hey Jesse, are you, I know you have the hexagon kind of in view. Are you able to put the finished painting up in the corner too? Oh, there it is, ta-da!
There you go. All right, now so we've got our 2 marks that are 2 3/4 of an inch in. We're gonna flip it all the way around. We're gonna do 180 and do the same thing on the other side. So we're gonna mark it from this side, 2 inches and 3/4. And then again, on this side, we're gonna do 2 inches and 3/4. Marked it a little too far then. So you should have these 4 marks now. It should look something like mine. So I'm gonna turn my painting or my canvas just 90 degrees. So now I've got this line that we haven't marked anything on yet. And I'm just going to measure it halfway across the whole canvas. So my canvas, of course, is 10 inches. So I'm just going to mark it. It's a 10-inch line. I'm going to mark it at 5 inches because that's half, of course. We're going to mark it at 5. And then do the same thing on the other side. We're going to mark it at 5 inches. Got my 10-inch line, and I'm going to mark it right in the center. Okay, and that is it for the measuring. You can go ahead and put your ruler away. Actually, no, you can't. We're going to use it as a straight edge, but it is it for the measuring. Keep your ruler out, though. So now that we've got all of our measurements done, it should look something like this. And all we're going to do now is connect our lines so that we have our hexagon shape. So hopefully you guys can kind of fill in the lines with your mind here. A lot of you probably already went ahead and realized what we were doing. So we're going to connect these 2 lines. And then we are going to connect these 2 lines. And then we're going to connect these two. And then we're going to connect these. So now you should have a pretty perfect hexagon shape, just like that one. So if you were following along with us doing the pencil and the ruler, you should have a hexagon that looks just like this. If you're doing the bowl or the circle or something, then you guys are already set and you're ready to start painting. How are we doing, Kira? Are people keeping up?
Yeah, I think everybody's good. Someone, we've got circles. Somebody wants to do a heart. Let's see. Someone said it's worth the effort to do the hexagon.
Oh, cool. I'm glad you thought so.
Yeah, and if you don't have a square canvas and it's a rectangle, that's totally fine. You could do a shape directly in the middle of the rectangle. That's totally fine.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So if we've got all of our hexagons or whatever shape we're doing drawn in the middle, we're going to go ahead and we're going to start drawing in a couple of our flowers. While we've got our pencil out, we're going to draw some of our larger shapes. If you don't have a pencil, you can totally use a paintbrush with some watered down paint. We do that all the time in these Let's Paints. So I'm going to start by drawing a big circle up here. So it's going to be pretty large. I would say it's about 4 inches. We're going to have maybe 3. We're going to have our circle right there. And it doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be a circle shape, just so we know where that shape is going to be. Can you see that on it? Hopefully you can. And then we're going to draw another circle about the same size just below it. And they can be touching, that's fine. And then another smaller circle, just slightly smaller, down to the bottom right of that. And those are going to be 3 of our larger flowers. And if yours doesn't look just like mine, that's totally fine. Or if you're doing a different shape, yours might be a little bit different. So you just want to make sure that your shape, whatever it is filled with flowers. So we've got those 3. And now we're going to draw this funny little flower here that looks kind of like, maybe like a tulip or something. I don't know, like a tulip from the side. So all that is it's sort of a curved V shape. And I'm going to make it sort of diagonal. So a curved V. Hopefully you can see that. It's got a little bit of a curve to it. And then it's sort of got what's almost like teeth. Just, those are sort of the petals on top. And this is a very flat graphic sort of shape. It doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't need to look realistic. Just sort of a fun graphic pattern that we're going to paint tonight. We are going to add a little bit of dimension. So I keep stressing this. It doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to look something like that.
Yep, so I think everybody's getting caught up. We'll give them a few more minutes to draw their shapes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and this is different. Last week was very painterly and like impressionistic and a little bit looser. This one is definitely more like harder edges and graphic. So very different, 2 different florals.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and it seems florals are always so popular. So people love painting them. This one's something different too we haven't done.
Yep. Yeah, we love painting florals too. I especially love painting florals. It's one of my favorite things to paint, probably.
Yeah.
So if you guys are caught up, if you're finished painting, if you're finished drawing your flower shapes, you can go ahead and grab some of our Hunter Green, FolkArt Hunter Green, which is the dark green that we've got. Any dark green will be fine. And all we're going to do is we're going to paint inside the hexagon behind all of the flower shapes.
And if you're using a larger canvas and you need to fill in some space, Jessie, they could just go ahead and repeat some of the shapes. They can add an additional tulip or another circle.
Absolutely. You totally can do that. I love that idea. You could either make your flowers bigger or you can just do more flowers. Absolutely. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to start base coating this background because it may take 2 coats. So I'm just going to start working on that slowly while everybody started catching up. And I'm just using, I'm sorry, I forgot to tell you guys, I'm just using my number 8 flat brush.
I was just grabbing my notes that you sent me so I can pull them up. Jessie and I are not together tonight. Yeah, so she had to email me.
So, yeah, any small flat brush will do. Any flat brush where you can base coat the back, but you can still get between your little flower shapes is fine for this. I may even switch to my larger flat brush for the larger areas just to make it smoother. But for the edges and for going around my flowers, I'm using this tiny flat brush. Okay. So this part, I kind of like the filling of the background. It's just sort of relaxing and it's kind of mindless. You can just sort of, it's like a coloring book almost, just sort of turn your brain off and paint in, just fill in the colors. I kind of like this part.
Yep, so this is hunter green Jessie is using.
Yep. Any dark green will do.
Yep, somebody's using black, you could use navy. I really love this hunter green.
Yeah, navy would be pretty though. If you've got navy at home and you want to have hunter green, you can totally mix the navy with like a bright green and it'll make a really similar color to this. But I love the idea of painting it with navy too. That'd be really pretty.
Oh, someone mixed green and black. I love that too. If you don't have hunter green and you need that dark color, that's a great idea.
Yeah, I love that idea. So again, I'm just going around the flowers sort of carefully. Make sure you get color on all of the parts.
Super relaxing, just filling in all that green.
I know.
I love it.
Like I said, it kind of reminds me of like doing coloring books when I was little, just sort of not thinking and just filling in the spaces with color.
Yep, very relaxing. And again, if you're not painting along and just watching this to be inspired or relax, that's so great. And then if you are painting along, you know, we love that you guys are able to paint along with us, and we love spending our Monday nights with you. Yeah. And you can always watch the video on michaels.com after in the community classroom.
Yep. And just in case you guys are wondering, I just switched to a larger brush just to fill in some of these bigger areas. Because whenever you're painting, sort of doing like the base coating sort of, it's better to use like the largest brush that you can fit, just because you'll get less brush strokes and it'll be a smoother coat. So if you do a tiny brush for larger areas, you'll end up getting more brush strokes and you'll be able to see the brush strokes more. So I always like to switch to a larger brush if I can fit it. And again, we may need to do 2 coats for this green because it's so, so dark. But also we're going to be painting flowers on top of it. So if you can't get your green to be as opaque as you like it to be in the amount of time you've got, don't stress about it, because we are going to let it dry and we're going to paint all these flowers on top of it. So you really won't notice if there's any, you know, little areas showing where you can see the canvas beneath. We just want to make sure we've got a pretty smooth coat of green on there. So I'm going to let that dry real quick. So while my green is drying, I'm going to go ahead and grab my pencil eraser. And I did make my lines really dark so you guys can see them. So I'm just going to knock those down a little bit before I try to paint them with the light blue, because it's just going to be harder to cover up since this color is going to be so light. So that's what I'm doing right now. If you paint, or if you drew them on lightly, then you don't have to worry about it. But mine are pretty dark, so I kind of just want to get rid of those a little bit and save myself some trouble later on when I'm base coating the background. Yeah,
we definitely do things like more and darker when we're on camera.
Definitely, yeah. Sometimes we'll even do it like in Sharpie or something just because the camera doesn't always want to pick up those fine pencil lines.
And then if you traced a bowl or something, you know, you don't really need to worry about that, or you can just soften those lines. You won't have your grid lines on there.
Totally. Yeah, normally when I'm sketching something out like this, I'll do really light graphite lines with my pencil, but I really was pressing down hard tonight so you guys could see.
Well, someone said if you're really planning ahead, you could use a light blue colored pencil.
Here you go. That's a great idea. I love it. That's normally why I just do sort of the sketching with like a fine paintbrush with like a liner brush, because then I can just use whatever paint color I'm planning on painting on top of it and it just disappears on its own. But I love the idea of a light blue colored pencil. That's really smart. I'll have to remember that one.
Yeah. So I have to tell a funny story. Someone just said it's about you, Jesse, sorry. But somebody said they just they almost put their paintbrush in their drinking water. We were in a meeting on Zoom, all of us, and Jessie had rubbing alcohol that she was using for a project and her drinking cup, and she picked up the rubbing alcohol on a Zoom class and like put a mouthful. And
I had the rubbing alcohol, the isopropyl alcohol, and I had one of those Fiji waters that's like a square bottle, and I just was like sitting there licking, and I just, as soon as it touched my lips, I was like, this is not water. So luckily I didn't take a gulp or anything. I was able to just spit it out, but I had to just keep it cool. I had to like play it like I hadn't just drinking rubbing alcohol. It was pretty tough. At the end, I told everybody, and they were like, we didn't even notice. I was like, gee, thanks, guys.
You're good. So a little bit of paint won't hurt you.
I forgot about that. I was like, what story is she going to tell? Huh. Yes, I did do that. Good times. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to try to touch up my green a little bit. It's still pretty wet. So when you're painting on a canvas like this, it sort of comes gessoed, so it does have a finish on it, and that's what helps the paint stick to the canvas and keep it from soaking through. But also you want to make sure your paint is really dry on top of it, because wherever it's shiny, if I try to paint on top of it now, it might pull my paint back up off the canvas. So I'm going to try to paint another coat on the areas where it's dry, but I am going to avoid the spots where it's still wet, because I don't want to pull my original coat back up. So I'm going to put some more hunter green on my palette. And I'm just going to go back and try to cover up a little bit of the brush strokes, just so I have a more solid coat of this hunter green. So again, we're just touching up the background, making sure we have a nice solid coat.
Yeah, you can always hit it with a hair dryer also, you know.
Absolutely, yeah. If you're at home and you've got your stuff there, totally hit it with a hair dryer or a heat gun or something, and that will dry it too. I don't think I have mine in the studio right here because I wasn't planning on it, but feel free to do that.
Nope, this is great. This gives everybody a minute to catch up.
Good. You can see it kind of accidentally pulled some paint up there. That's what we want to avoid. I shouldn't have painted over that. It was still too wet, because my brush will just sort of wipe the first coat of paint right off, and that's not what we want. Okay, so I'm going to leave it at that because I definitely don't want to mess it up. So I'm just cleaning my brush off. So the next thing we're going to do is we are going to put some of our teal, or this is just like a pretty aqua color, aqua turquoise teal, something in that family. And I'm going to put a little bit of Wicker white onto my palette.
So I think that color is actually aqua, right?
Aqua.
On the bottom.
Okay, sorry. Aqua is what you guys have.
Yeah, I can double check. But any teal, aqua, blue will be great.
Yep. So I'm going to pick up, I've got my largest brush here, which for me is my 3/4 inch flat brush. And I've got some Wicker white here, and I'm going to mix in just a touch of this aqua or teal or whatever you have. And we're going to make a really light blue using it. Just want a little touch of the aqua. And you want to mix a good bit of this because you need enough to coat the whole background. So when you're mixing colors, it's always easier to just mix as much as you need in the beginning instead of trying to go back and matching that color. Sometimes that can be tricky.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, you wanna have a little extra of this.
Yeah,
so you don't run out.
So I'm gonna mix a little bit more even.
And a little bit of that aqua teal color goes a long way.
It does, yeah. You just kind of need to, you see I'm just sort of sticking the corner of my brush into it because I just want a little bit at a time because it really does, Kira's right, it really does go a long way. You don't need that much of it to make a really pretty blue color. All right. I'm gonna get it nice and combined. And then I'm gonna make sure I have all that excess paint out of my brush so I don't waste any. And whenever I mix paint with my brush like that, that's way too much paint in your brush, and I don't like to put that onto my canvas because I don't have nearly as much control as I like to have over my brush. So I always wipe off the excess, and then I'm gonna rinse my brush off too before I actually start painting the background.
That's a really good tip.
Thanks. Whenever you have your brush just sopping with paint, it's really hard to get the shapes or the brush strokes that you're looking for. It's just too much paint in there. So now we're just going to take our flat brush and we're just going to paint around our green shape using our new light blue color that we just mixed.
And that white border, you're going to add that in after, some people are asking, correct?
Yeah, that'll be a later touch, so don't worry about that. You can go right up to the hunter green. We will do that later on in the painting, don't worry. Great question. I'm going to tilt my canvas just a little bit to make it more comfortable for me. And I don't think I even mixed enough blue. So make sure when you're doing it, you mix a good amount of blue because I think I might need to go back and mix some more already. I thought I had more than I really do. That's okay. It doesn't really bother me. I'll try to get it as close as I can, but if it's not perfect, that's okay too.
You were using teal. I went back and looked at the supply list. But okay, you could use any, even if you just had a light blue and you wouldn't need to mix it then, you could use that.
Totally, absolutely. Or, you know, a different color if you wanted to do your background purple or white or.
Yeah.
It's whatever you'd like it to be. Just make it a mess. And if you feel like your brush is dragging a little bit on your canvas, if you feel like your paint is sort of starting to dry out, go ahead and just dip your brush in water. You don't want to water your paint down or anything, but it does just help your paint flow a little more smoothly. It just sort of re-wets your paint in case your brush is starting to dry out.
And you could go ahead and do your edges now, or you could always come back, but once you have that blue mixed, you could do them, or you could leave them white. It's totally up to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, feel free to go ahead and paint your edges now of your canvas. It's a great idea. People always ask me that, and I pretty much always wait to paint my canvases or at the edges until the end because sometimes I'm not sure if I want to frame them yet, but also it just gets messy. I always end up making a mess when I try to paint my edges while the painting is still wet, so that's why I kind of tend to wait on that. But feel free to paint those now. So I keep getting on my green. All right, so we just have a nice smooth coat of this light blue color that we mixed behind or all around our green shape. I'm going to clean my brush off. So hopefully you guys are caught up.
And this was just one coat of the blue. So
Yeah,
the white and the white and the teal is just one coat.
Anytime that you add white to a color, it pretty much automatically makes it way more opaque. So you're gonna have to do less coats. A lot of times dark colors or really bright colors, just it's sort of the nature of those pigments that they tend to be transparent. So that's why we needed to do 2 coats of the green, maybe even 3 coats of the green for some of you. You can just hit it with a hairdryer. But since we added so much white to our teal color, we're not going to need to do any more than 1 coat because its opacity is really strong. It's not transparent. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to grab some of our baby pink, which is just our light pink color. And we're going to put a little bit of that on our palette. And I'm going to take my small flat brush again. We're going to paint this big circle we did at the top using baby pink. So we're just going to fill it in. You can use a small brush or maybe even a bigger brush if you've got it, but I'm going to use this tiny one. You want to go right up to the edges. They don't need to be perfect because you can see we're going to make them more floral looking. We're going to make them a little bit more textured, but just get as close to the edges as you can.
And what size brush are you using?
I am using my number 8 flat brush, which is a tiny flat brush, but really any size brush will work for this. You can use your 3/4 inch flat for this, or if you've got like a 1/2 inch flat brush, that'll work too. Because we're just filling it in. So once you know that, we're just going to do the same exact thing to this bottom right circle that we made here. I'm just going to fill it in.
Okay, I think people are getting caught up, so they might just need another second.
Okay, no problem.
I love the color combo already.
Thanks.
And then what color are we going to use next? Maybe if people are ready, they could start getting their paint out and ready.
Yeah, next we're going to be using pumpkin, which is our orange color, of course. So you can go ahead and put that on your palette if you are ready.
And again, what great color combos. Like, I don't think you would typically pick like a light blue and an orange and a pink and a green, and it all really works together.
Thanks, Kira. Yeah, it is a fun one for sure. So if you are caught up, you can go ahead. We're going to paint these 2 flowers, the second 2 flowers with the orange. So if you want to go ahead and start base coating that, if you're a little bit ahead of the game, feel free to do that. And you can just use your small flat brush again. Just keep on using the same number 8.
Same technique, you're just filling in those shapes.
Yep, right now we're just filling them in. We're going to paint some textures and stuff on top.
It's really fun to watch it come to life.
Thanks.
Like, I just get to sit and watch. So again, if you are curious and you want to watch after the class, you can find this video and all of Jesse's other Let's Paint Live classes and all of Michael's past classes from the community classroom. They're available on michaels.com. You get all this fabulous product. So get your FolkArt paints. We have our Craft Smart brushes and our Artist Loft canvas, all at michaels.com. Or you could do curbside pickup if that's available in your area. So lots of ways to get all this product in your hands.
Okay, so again, I'm just using my small flat brush, which I'm using my number 8 specifically. And I'm just using pumpkin orange to fill in these second 2 flower shapes that we have drawn.
Yep. And if you have a larger canvas and you
Kira cut out there. Oh. Wonder if she got kicked off. Maybe she'll try to get back in. So again, we're just filling in these second 2 flowers using orange. Maybe Michaels can try to let her back into the room. Kira just lost power, she said. She just texted me.
I was going to say, it looks like she's lost her internet connection.
Oh, no.
So it's just you and I tonight.
That's okay. I'm excited. Kira must have think maybe there's storms out by her right now. She must have just lost electricity for a couple minutes.
Yeah.
That's okay. We're going to keep on going.
And if she texts you, you just let me know and I'll let her back in.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so next thing we're going to do is we're going to put a little bit more wicker white on our palette. And what we're going to do now is we're going to start painting some of the texture on this large flower here. So to do this, we're going to take our small flat brush. This is my number 8 flat brush. And we're going to dip half of it into the baby pink. You can see I just have it on half of my brush. And then the other half, we're going to dip it into the wicker white. So hopefully you can see there, I've got white on one half and pink on the other. And what we're going to do is we're going to take our little flat brush and we're going to make sort of like C brush strokes all the way around the edge of our little flower here. Here, I'll show you one. We're going to do a little C, just like a little bump shape. So feel free to add more paint as you need it. Like a little half circles all the way around our little flower here. And what this does is it creates sort of like a dimensional petal looking shape because you've got sorry, I keep stumbling over my words. We got 2 colors on our brush. So it's creating some shading and dimension without having to do all that brushwork. So by dipping,
Jessie, can you tell them again what colors you mixed?
Yeah, totally. So on one half of my brush, hopefully you can kind of see it there. On one half of my brush, I have wicker white. And on the other half of my brush, I have baby pink. And I didn't do anything super fancy. I just literally dunked one half in pink and then one half in white. And you can see here it's creating sort of these like shaded brush strokes. It's a really easy way to get some dimension and some shading without having to do a ton of work. And I'm just doing these sort of little half circle petally shapes just around the corner of my flower shape, I should say. It's not a flower yet. So I'm just doing these little half circle shapes all the way around. It doesn't need to be perfect because we just want to get a little bit of texture and a little bit of shape and dimension into these flowers. So that looks kind of like there's petals going all the way around. So super simple. It's not really as complicated as it might seem to you. If you've never done this sort of double loading technique before, it may seem sort of complicated, but it's really not. You just want to dip part of your brush in white and then part of your brush in pink, and that's all there is to it. And then you just paint these C sort of shapes all around your flower, and that's it. There's no secret or no trick. Just gonna give you guys just a minute to catch up. And we are using our number 8 flat brush for this. And we've got baby pink and wicker white. And again, we just dipped part of our brush into the baby pink and then the other part of our brush into the wicker white. And we just painted our little petal shapes all around the sides. And by what is called double loading our brush, we get that sort of dimension and shading in each brush stroke that we do without having to go back and do lots of blending. We just get that right, right with the simple brush stroke. So if you are caught up and you've began painting your little petals, you can just keep going, and we're going to sort of do a spiral all the way in towards the center. We're not going to go all the way to the center because the center will be yellow. We're just going to do like another row right inside of those. So you can sort of see here. And you can see here, let me show you on my palette in case you guys are confused about the shape I'm making. It's almost like a rainbow shape. You're just doing like this all the way around, just little arches almost. So can you guys see that? All the way around. You can sort of turn your brush as you go around the flower. And I'm just picking up the paint as I go. And we're going all the way around that circle. So hopefully you guys can see that a little better to get an idea of the shape that we're painting, because it is hard to see since we're going right on top of the pink. So it should look something like that. Make sure you guys can see it. So for mine, I have the pink half of my brush pointing inside. So I've got the white on the edges, but it's totally up to you. You could have the pink on the edges and the white on the inside. It just depends on which way you turn your brush when you're doing it. So whichever color's on the outside, of course, be on the outside, and then vice versa. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna do another row of the same thing, just right inside of this row, just to create another layer of petals. And the exact same thing we just did, creating these little arches with the 2 different colors on our brush. And it's definitely not perfect. It just gives us a sort of the impression of petals on this flower here. Just another little row there. Keep picking up paint as you need it. Again, we're just dipping half of it in baby pink and the other half of it in wicker white. And we're gonna do the same thing for this little flower down here too. The other pink flower we painted, it's the exact same thing. So I'm gonna start by going around the edges of that. And just making little arches all the way around. So we're doing wicker white and baby pink. Again, we just went all the way around our little flower there. The same exact thing.
So Jessie, a couple people are concerned about whether or not we're going to be able to finish this during the class tonight. Do you think you're going to be able to finish it?
Yeah, definitely. We're going to start wrapping it up. We'll have to kind of get moving, but we'll definitely be able to finish. Okay, so now we're going to do the next set of petals right on the inside. Again, it's just the exact same thing right on the inside of that. And that's all it is for those pink ones. We are going to add the yellow, but not just yet. So I'm just going to clean off my brush here. So now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to actually add some of my Daybreak, which is my yellow color, to my palette. And we're going to do the same thing we just did, but we're going to do orange and yellow, and we're going to do it on this round orange flower we made. So same exact thing. We're going to dip half of our brush in orange and then half of our brush in yellow, and we're going to go and make the same petal shapes all the way around. Again, we're making the same arches. Again, we're using yellow and orange right now, and I've got my number 8 flat brush. And we're just doing the exact same thing we did for our pink flowers all the way around our little orange flower here. And we're going to do another row just inside. Again, it's the same thing we just did. We'll do another little row right inside of that one. Just making our little like rainbow shapes. And for this one, we're going to go all the way to the center. So these we kind of stopped because we're going to add in some yellow. We're going to go all the way to the center and do one more row in the center. So it should look something like that. And then I'm going to go ahead and clean my brush off. So now I'm going to use the same brush. I've got my number 8 flat brush, and I'm going to pick up some of my yellow color, and I'm just going to paint a little circle right on the inside of the 2 pink flowers. Maybe sort of little daisy flowers or something. We're just going to have a little yellow center. And you can see what I did there to make that circle. I took my brush and I twisted it around in both directions. And that's how we did that. We twisted to the left and we twisted to the right. If you have a different way of painting circles, any way is fine. So that's all we're going to do for that one. And I'm going to clean my brush off. Now to paint some texture onto our little tulip guy here, we are going to mix a couple of colors. We're going to mix a little bit of baby pink and a little bit of our orange color. And this is going to make a pretty coral color, like a light coral. You see that kind of, it's like a bubblegum coral color. I'm gonna wipe off the excess. And all we're gonna do here is we are going to go inside these sort of spikes that we made and just paint stripes. And that's just to give it a little bit of dimension. And again, we mixed orange and baby pink. So look, all I'm gonna do is make these stripes here. Just going, if you have 5 of those petals, you can see here in my original painting I had 5. Then you're going to do 5 stripes, but I only did 4 in this one, so we've just got our 4 stripes. And that's just going to imply a little bit of texture.
So just to clarify, that was orange and baby pink that you used?
Yep, yeah, we used orange and baby pink, and we mixed them together on our palette to get this little light coral color.
So some people just use pink, but I'm sure it looks nice.
Oh yeah, pink will look just as good, for sure. Those will be really pretty together. Okay, So now with this little color that we just mixed, so we took baby pink and we took orange. We mix those together and we, just like we did before, and we got that coral color. We're gonna use this color again to paint some just little tiny detail flowers just to fill in some of these spaces here. So I'm just gonna paint, and all those are gonna be our circles. So you can see here, it's a circle here, circle there, and those just look like tiny little flowers. So we're gonna go ahead and we are going to paint those circles. So you can follow my pattern and paint them exactly where mine are, or you can make your own pattern depending on your shape, but we just wanna put them in a few places to fill in. So that being said, you do wanna make sure that you've got your little room for some branches here. So you are gonna add those. Okay, so here, this is where I'm gonna show you how I'm gonna do it. Again, I'm gonna take my paintbrush and I'm gonna twist to the left and twist to the right just to get a little circle shape. And I'm gonna do that a few times. Twist to the left and twist to the right. You can kind of go in and add another little pink swoosh or a little orange swoosh to that if you want to, just to give it a little bit of dimension. These are just sort of extra little flowers in this little snippet of garden that we're painting here. You can do, maybe I'll do another one up here. Swish to the left and swish to the right. And you can see I just went and added a little swipe of orange and pink on there just to give it a little bit of dimension so it doesn't look flat. And then I'm going to clean my brush off. We've just got a few more things. I know it looks like it's pretty empty right now. We've only got a couple more things to do to sort of fill in those extra spaces, and they're really quick things. So first, I'm going to take my number 5 liner brush. It's sort of a number 5 round, so it's just sort of a thin brush. Hopefully you can see it there. And we are going to mix a little bit of hunter green, teal, and wicker white. So again, we have our dark green color, our teal color, and our white color. And we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna mix those on our palette.
Hey Jessie, I'm back for.
Hey!
We're having a horrible storm here, so I apologize if I cut out again, everybody, because I want to be able to answer your questions.
Well, we had Debbie jump on in your absence, so.
I know, thank you everybody. It looks amazing. You guys don't even need me. It looks so great.
We're glad you're back though.
Yeah.
So
this weather is crazy.
That is crazy. I don't even think it's storming here. We're not that far.
Yeah. So Jessie, I can answer this question. Jessie is mixing the teal and the hunter green.
Yep. And I actually also put some white. So it's mostly hunter green and then a little bit of teal and white. And we have this pretty sort of like light greenish color. So with this color, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna paint our little branches that we have here, just these little stems. So for this one, I'm gonna start here. And we have a branch going this way. And we're gonna have another branch going this way. And they're kind of stemming out from each other, you can see there. Just painting little lines, they don't have to be perfect. And we're gonna paint another little branch right here, and that's gonna be it for the branches.
Yeah, and if you don't have space for all those branches, don't worry. You could just add 2, or if you have more room, add 3 or 4.
Exactly. This is totally up to you. You can make the composition however you want it. That's a great point, Kira. So if you have less room, if maybe your flowers are a little closer together, then don't worry about these. But if you've got, you know, if you have a bigger canvas maybe and you have more space, feel free to add a bunch of them, however you think it looks good.
And some people had questions about the giveaway. I think some people are getting caught up. So we are going to draw a name at random at the end, and you will win $50 worth of plaid product that's available at Michael's.
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully you guys are able to catch up. Again, all we did was just paint those quick little branches in.
Can see everybody painting.
Awesome. So, how are we feeling, Kira?
Maybe another minute. I think people are just getting caught up.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. It's looking great. Super fun if you're painting along, and if not, then you know, a long weekend hopefully some people have with the holiday, that you can go ahead and get your supplies from Michael's and paint along this weekend.
All right, so we ready to start painting some leaves?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we're gonna keep using the same color, the same green that we mixed for our stems, which again was hunter green, teal, and wicker white. And we are just gonna paint some little leaf shapes. So just how you think of a leaf shape, just like this, super simple. We're not gonna make it too fancy. We're just gonna paint, you can see these ones I'm doing on my palette. We're just gonna paint shapes that look just like that. And we're gonna paint those going along our little stems that we've painted. And then we are gonna fill them in. So super simple, just paint little leaf shapes coming off of our stems and then filling them in with the same color. Nothing fancy here. Little leaf shapes, and I'm just using the very tip of my brush. I'm not putting very much pressure on it, and that's how I'm getting sort of these thinner lines. Just little leaf shape, and just put them on your stems wherever they make sense and wherever there's room for them. So you can see here, I'm not putting them all up and down both sides because it doesn't really make sense and I don't really have that much room for them. So I'm just sort of picking where they will have space to be.
You kind of want to stagger them.
Yeah, you do want to stagger them, right? You don't want to have all the leaves on one side and none on the other, but again, just wherever they look like they would be growing out from the stem and wherever you have space, just to sort of fill in this composition. I did it on my other little guy there too. And I'm also going to continue these. I'm going to do a few more leaves just to sort of fill in these open spaces here. So again, the exact same shape. I'm just going to kind of go where there's a gap and it looks like there needs to be another shape there, and I'm going to put a leaf shape. So just little leaves here and there, just like maybe they've fallen on the ground in the garden or something like that.
The color is really pretty on the hunter green. The contrast is really nice.
Yeah, I really do like this teal and the hunter green together. I think they look really pretty. So again, I'm just filling in wherever you have room on your composition for there to be some extra little green leaves here and there. That's where you put them. Again, no really rhyme or reason. It may not be just like mine, but that's okay. Wherever there's room on your painting to put them.
Someone said it's so quiet. I think everyone's really concentrating.
It is quiet. It's very quiet here at Plaid too.
Well, I have quite a setup now since the electricity went out. I panicked. My husband ran in, so I've got like 3 monitors, a laptop. And I'm working on my phone right now.
Oh my goodness.
So I have lots of Jessies and lots of paintings looking at me.
That's really funny. I love that.
It looks beautiful already. I love it.
Oh, thanks, Kira. You can see we're kind of getting there. It's coming together. We just have a few little sprinkles of details to add here and there, and we're almost towards the end.
Yeah, this is a good one. It's something we haven't done before. It's really different.
Yeah, it is a little bit different than the normal ones we do.
And again, I like the idea, if you wanted to do a collection of them, you could do different shapes. So if you're doing a hexagon, do a circle or a square next.
I love that idea.
And change it up.
Yeah, like a gallery wall or something. That'd be beautiful. All right, so if you're kind of catching up, if you're just painting your leaves, or maybe you had less leaves to paint, I've still got my same brush. I still got my number 5 round brush, and I haven't washed it yet. I still have my green paint on it. I'm just gonna pick up a little bit of my yellow color, and I'm gonna go in, and I'm just gonna do a little stroke on them to make some highlights. You wanna make sure you still have green on your brush so they kind of blend in. But I'm gonna do some highlights on these leaves, just to give it a little bit of dimension. Hopefully you can see there. All I'm doing is doing one little stroke on the edge of each leaf and try to keep to the same side, if that makes sense. But you want to make sure you have green. Is that Duke I hear?
That is my dog, you guys. We are keeping it real tonight. I apologize.
No, that's okay.
So somebody asked if we have more classes. So Jessie will be back. We personally do not, Plaid does not have any more classes on the Michael's Community classroom this week, but Jessie will be back next Monday on the 6th with another floral.
Yep.
You can sign up for that now. And then we have, I believe, some rock painting classes and tie-dye also coming up very soon, I believe, next week.
Awesome.
So really fun.
So again, we're just putting some of this Daybreak yellow. We're just taking a little bit on our brush that still has the green on it, and I am picking up a little more green as I go. And we're just making one quick stroke on each one of the leaves that we just painted, just to give them a little bit of dimension and make them look a little bit less flat. A really quick stroke. I didn't spend very much time on that. Just a quick little brush stroke here and there.
It really does bring them to life.
Yeah,
It really makes them
way
pop.
better. It looks less cartoonish. Okay. So, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to paint a couple more big leaves, and now we're going to start overlapping. So you can see here, all of our shapes are not side by side. They're a little bit overlapped, which gives it a little bit of interest, I think. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to pick up some of our teal that we're using, which is our teal, aqua turquoise color, whichever one you've got. And we're going to make the same shapes again, but we're going to make them a little bit bigger. And we're going to overlap some of our other shapes this time. So here, I'll show you what I mean. I'm going to make one here. I'm just going to do a big teal leaf right here, overlapping my flowers and overlapping my stem. And I'm going to fill that in. And this is just another pretty colorful component that adds more detail to our painting. So you can see it starts to kind of pull it together. Everything's not so flat. Everything's not just sitting next to each other. They're kind of starting to overlap each other, and it's becoming more finished looking. So wherever you feel like there's like needs a little bit of a color, pop of color, you can put one of these big teal leaves. So I'm going to put one right here. Sort of up to you where you think they should go in your painting. And I'm going to fill it in. And again, I'm still using this same, I keep forgetting what it is, same number 5 round brush. And we are using teal. We're just painting these big leaf shapes, and we're overlapping our other shapes just a little bit. I'm just going to do 3, maybe 4 of them. Maybe I'll do one more. Make over here. And once we've done that, we're gonna do another little quick step. We're gonna pick up, we have teal on our brush still. We're gonna pick up the tiniest bit of white and we're gonna do another stroke on those, just how we did with the little green leaves that we did. We're gonna do a little stroke of white just for a little highlight.
And those leaves are the teal, right? Correct, Jessie?
Yeah.
Those are just teal out of the bottle.
Yep, just straight teal. I didn't mix it with anything, just for a little pop of color. Another sort of variation of the leaves, just to give it some variety.
Everybody is painting along.
Awesome. I'm so glad you guys are enjoying this one. This was a really fun one to paint. So, do we feel like we're catching up a little bit?
Yeah, some people are like, I don't like mine, but I'm having fun anyway. So we love that, right? Like,
Oh.
just enjoy it. And it always looks better than you think it does. Or the magic trick for me is let it sit, go to bed, and when you wake up in the morning, it looks so much better for some reason.
It always looks better the next day. It's so true. When you've been staring at a painting for a couple of hours, it never looks as good as it actually does.
Yeah.
You're seeing every flaw and every little thing that you didn't like along the way, but tomorrow you'll forget about those teeny little details, those teeny little mistakes, and it'll look way better.
So something really fun, people have been going to our Let's Paint Facebook group. So if you guys don't know about that, check that out. It is a great community. So it's Let's Paint. It's our plaid Facebook group, and people post these paintings after, and it's amazing to see what everybody has done. So, and nobody gives themselves enough credit. I bet every one of them is great. So it's so fun to see the next day, all them pop up in the feed.
Yeah, we want to see all of your paintings. So get on Facebook and make sure you post them tomorrow so we can go and comment and see how you guys did. Okay, so our next step here is I'm switching to a new brush actually. This is the number 4 flat brush. So this is a very tiny flat brush, even smaller than the other one we've been using. And I'm going to pick up a little bit of Wicker white and a teeny bit of Daybreak, and I'm going to mix them together to get even a paler yellow. You don't need very much of this for what we're about to do. We're just going to make these sort of, just these yellow little marks that maybe are the tinier flower petals. They almost like little confettis or something, but they just sort of fill in the space. Again, we're just adding more little details to make this look really full. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this color, and where there's a little open space, we're just going to do a quick little stroke. We're just going to use the tip of our brush and just do, it looks like a little rectangle. Just a quick little rectangular stroke. And you can go in all the little spaces that need a little bit of filling in, wherever there's little gaps, and you can do one of these tiny yellow strokes just to give it some more color. I'm just gonna do a few of these. You can do as many as you want. Depends on how many little spaces you have that you feel like you need to fill in. And again, this is Daybreak, and we mixed it with Wicker white. So it's a very pale yellow. And Daybreak is our yellow color, in case you're using a substitution. That's a light yellow, and then we added even more white to it. And I should do a few of those.
It looks great.
Thanks.
You make it look easy.
Thank you. All right, so the next thing we're going to use is you can hang on to the same brush, the same tiny little flat brush, and we are going to pick up some of our pumpkin color, our orange, on the end of our brush. So you can see I didn't pick it up with the bristles, I picked it up with the back end of my brush, just a little bit. And we're going to use the end of our brush as a stamp to make some texture inside of our pink flowers. You can see we have these little polka dots here. That's what we're going to do. So you literally just dot it just like a little stamp. And you can just make a few little polka dots on the inside of your flower to give it a little bit of texture and a little bit more detail. And I'm just using the end of my brush and orange, and I'm just doing it like a little stamp. And I just added a few, and I didn't add too many. And then I'm going to wipe my brush off. And then we're going to keep doing the same thing. So we just did a couple little orange dots inside of our flowers, nothing fancy, we just use it as a little stamp. We're going to use the end of our brush again, but we're going to pick up Wicker white. And we're going to do a few little white dots, just sort of sprinkled around among our little frame of flowers here. And you can overlap some of the other areas, but we're just going to do a little bit more filling in just to make our design really pop. And for these, you can go ahead and overlap some of the shapes if you want. I tend to like to do these little polka dots in little groupings of 3. I just think it looks cute, and I think that odd numbers always look better to me. But it's totally up to you. Just wherever you feel like you could use a little bit of detail, or maybe there's a little piece of green, like a little patch of green that you didn't cover as well as you would have liked to. This is a great way to just sort of cover that up and sort of distract from it. So just use the end of your brush again. We're just doing little tiny polka dots, just like little stamps. And we're using Wicker white. You can do as many or as few of those as you would like. So you can see our painting is really coming together. We are definitely wrapping up. The last step of our painting is we are going to grab our number 5 round brush, which is just sort of a small round brush, and we are going to paint the white stripe that is around our hexagon. So we're going to overlap it, and we're just going to paint right on both of those colors. We're going to paint just as thin as you can get it. It doesn't have to be super thin though, it's kind of up to you. Just a thin-ish white stripe going all the way around our hexagon just to sort of frame it. So here, I'm going to tilt mine a little to make it more comfortable for me. I'm just going to drag my brush along that border right on top of both of those colors.
And what number brush, Jessie?
We are using our number 5 round brush. And we are just using Wicker white, and we're just painting in that little white band that sort of frames our hexagon.
And you really just want to put your paintbrush down and pull, right? Kind of like drag it across.
Definitely. You don't need to put too much pressure on it, just a very light pressure. And I'm sort of moving my elbow, not as much my wrist.
And turning your canvas always helps. That's such a great trick that you taught me and everybody else. You just keep moving your canvas.
Yeah, so just move it around however's comfortable for you. And I'm just putting very medium pressure on my brush. We're just going all the way around. It doesn't need to be perfect. I kind of like that it looks imperfect because that's how you know that it's hand painted. You don't want too much paint on your brush. You can see I just wiped off some of the excess because the end of my brush was getting a little bulky and that was too much paint. It was hard to keep my line as straight as I like it. So you just want to keep sort of a a decent amount of paint on your brush, but you definitely don't want to overload your brush.
So while you're finishing up, I have to mention this. Jesse's gonna probably not be happy, but a lot of people were asking about your wedding. So
Yes.
Jessie next Monday will be a married lady when she teaches you guys how to paint.
Yep, my wedding is this weekend, so
Yep.
just
So
trying to tie
very
up some loose
exciting.
ends and kind of snuck
Yep.
up on me.
Well, there's a lot going on in the world, so we are just excited for you and Justin.
Oh, thank you so much,
It was
guys.
very
That's really
sweet.
nice of
Everybody
you.
was asking, and then the electricity went out. So I can't leave them
very
hanging.
sweet. That's really nice of you guys to remember. Thank you so much. It really means a lot to me. Thanks, guys.
Everybody's just saying congratulations, best wishes. So
Thank you so much. It's really thoughtful.
we spend a lot of time with these people.
I know. Spent a lot of hours with you guys. I am very excited. It's strange. We're going to come back a married woman with a new last name next time you see me painting.
A super positive, fun thing right now in the world. So
Yeah,
I love
definitely.
it.
Definitely something to look forward to for sure. All right, guys. So when you're finished with your white stripe around your hexagon, go ahead and take a fine brush and you can go ahead and sign the bottom right side or wherever, honestly. You can sign it anywhere you'd like on your canvas. And that is it for our modern floral canvas.
Love it.
Thanks.
Jessie, thank you so much. It looks great.
Yeah, of course. These are so fun. I love teaching you guys.
Another favorite. And again, just a totally different style than last week, which I love that we can change it up that much.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. It looks great.
So many of them. So thanks for watching, guys. We really hope you enjoyed it. Like Kira said, don't forget, next week we've got another painting class, same time next Monday, so make sure you tune in for that. I think Kira's probably picking a winner right now.
I am. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Michaels, for having us again. We couldn't be happier to be here, able to teach and spend time with everybody. I gotta scroll. Again, I've got so many screens up right now. Let me get on here and get onto the chat real quick.
Yeah, so guys, make sure, like Kira said, go to our Facebook page. It's called Let's Paint with Plaid, and post your paintings on there so we can see what you guys have been painting. Each week you can go post your paintings on there. You can post any paintings. If you're a painter and you just like to paint at home, we want to see all the crafts you're doing, all the paintings you're doing. So make sure you guys join that group. I think you're gonna like it a lot. There's a lot of really cool paintings and techniques on there, and lots of people to give great advice and to give you comments. So I hope to see you guys on that Facebook group.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm on. I got to pick. I keep forgetting. I'm looking at everybody's chats and making sure I'm answering all the questions.
It's a long drum roll.
I know. Avita Jan.
Woo!
Did I say it right or did I butcher it?
Awesome.
AVITIJAIN.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Sorry if I turned you all sideways. I'm on my phone. So what we need you to do is go to Plaid's Facebook page and direct message us and let us know that you won watching or painting along with Jessie in the Michaels Community Classroom, and we'll go ahead and get you your product from Plaid. So again, thank you everybody for joining us and painting along. Jessie, thank you.
Yeah, no
and
problem.
We will see everybody next Monday. So have a great holiday, long weekend, hopefully, and enjoy.
Yeah, be
Bye,
safe.
guys.
Bye.